Just want to take you now to Lebanon and bring you these live pictures from the Tayuna district of Beirut. This is the scene where protests had been taking place, and you can see signs there of what's been going. Signs of gunfire are continuing. The Lebanese army has been deployed in force to try to contain the situation, and it's been reported by Reuters that the death toll has reached four people killed, including a woman who died from a bullet wound in her house, according to a military source. We can't confirm any of those details, but that is being reported by Reuters at the moment, and you can see those live pictures there. And we do know that these protests have been taking place with supporters of Hezbollah gathering to press for the removal of a judge heading an inquiry. We can speak now, I believe, to Anna Foster, who is on the ground for us. Anna, just bring us up to date. We're obviously seeing this unfold at the moment.
That's right. This all escalated very quickly this morning from what began as a protest organised by Hezbollah and Amal supporters about the investigation into the port blast. They want to see the Judge Tarek Bitar removed as the investigating judge, because they feel that he is disproportionately targeting Shia politicians when he's calling people to give evidence. It's worth saying that Judge Bitar does have the support of the families. But what has happened here this morning, this protest, there was some chanting, there was some jostling happening outside the Justice Palace. And then we started to hear gunfire a few streets away. And this has really swept through Beirut this morning. It's worth saying, by the way, you might hear while we're talking in the background some gunfire, because it is going on. We're well away from the live gunfire. It's happening a few streets away from us. But this is where things were happening earlier. You can probably see the detritus of what went on earlier. There are burned out motorbikes. There's broken glass. You can see where the windows have been shot out of buildings. There was one residential building earlier where the main apartment window, floor-to-ceiling window, had been shot out and was dropping down into the street. What you will also notice in great number here, just behind me, is the Lebanese armed forces. Now, they are trying to bring the situation under control. They have tweeted, they've been saying to people here in Beirut, please do not come out onto the streets. They want people to stay indoors while they try and contain the situation, while they try and work out where the fire is coming from and what they can do about it.
And obviously it's very fluid. It must be very alarming for those who are caught up in this immediately.
It is. I mean, there have been some very graphic pictures and videos on social media this morning, pictures of children in a school. There were some schools actually that decided to close this morning when they knew that this protest was happening. And in fact, we were told that the protest was being scaled down accordingly because of that. But we've seen pictures of children cowering under desks in classrooms, cowering in corridors, which brings back, very difficult memories for their parents, frankly, many of whom lived through the civil war here in Lebanon. As you say, it is a very fluid situation in terms of the number of people killed and injured. We've seen the Red Cross on the streets. We've seen that they are out dealing with injured people. But this is one of those situations, Geeta, that it's going to take time to work out quite how this escalated and also quite how they're going to bring it to a close.
Anna, we can hear some shots behind you. I hope it's safe for you to keep talking to us at the moment. Can you give us an idea of where exactly you are at the moment?
So we're in an area called Badaro. We're on the edge of Badaro, and it's worth saying, just to reassure you, the gunfire is happening. You can hear it because this is a residential area. It really echoes off these tall buildings. So it sounds like we're a lot closer than we actually are, but I can reassure you it's happening a very long way that way, and we've sort of taken a safe position in order to speak to you. But these scenes that you're seeing, it marks a new step in what's happening in Lebanon right now. There have been shortages, there have been protests over the blast investigation. But what happens next really is crucial. Things are so very tense. People are frustrated. They feel like they've been through an awful lot here in the last year or so. In fact, since the protest, the uprising of 2019, when people took to the streets to protest against what they saw as a corrupt ruling class, political mismanagement, Lebanon has a new government in place, but at the moment, because they're split over what to do about the judge and the port investigation, even they are not meeting at the moment. But as you rightly say, it's worth mentioning this is the centre of Beirut. This is where people live and work and go to school. And this morning they've seen the army back on the streets again in a combat role. They've seen and heard running gun battles. They've heard, again, the sound of RPGs. It's a long way away, but it will roll off the buildings and it will sound louder to you. And it will suggest that it's closer than it actually is. Please don't worry, we're a long way away. But all of this is really concerning and upsetting and frustrating for people who live here in Beirut to see and to live through.
Anna, obviously, thanks for the reassurance about you and the team, but it is obviously very difficult for all those caught up in it at the moment there in Beirut. Thank you very much indeed. Thanks a lot.